Hey everybody, it is Doug. I want to show you my new white Speedmaster. I'm going to do a whole bunch of things for you. I'm of course going to do an unboxing. I'll show it to you on the Omega bracelet. I also have the Omega mesh that I'm going to put it on, and several of the Omega NATOs. I did order mine with the leather strap and also with the rubber strap, but unfortunately my AD had to order those, so I don't have those yet. So I'm going to put those in another video, but I'm going to go over a whole bunch of things. I'm also going to compare this to my Daytona, and I'm also going to compare it to the Submariner. So let's open this up, and this is really cool. I've never had one of these, and I've always been envious of the Speedmasters. The boxing on it, this just looks really, really cool in this fabric, and I know it's got the Velcro connectors there. So we have this, which I'll set aside for a moment. As we open this up, down below is this book. I haven't looked through this yet. I've seen this on other videos, but it actually goes into the details of the Speedmaster with the Apollo NASA program. So that should be really fun to look through. And it's got a little, almost like a little drawer inside that houses that. So that's neat. Lots of foam padding. And then what do we have here? The essential guide, so some sort of a manual. So let's open this up. And there's the white Speedy. And I have actually never seen the white one in person on the bracelet. So I saw one at an AD that was on a rubber strap, and then one that was on the leather strap. But this is the first time I've ever seen it on this bracelet. I have seen the black sapphire sandwich, but just feeling this for the first time, this does feel very, very cool. And I did locate here, here's my warranty cards and things like that. And then as you lift this up, we do have kind of like a box within a box. So this does have all of the warranty cards and the pictograms. And I'll show you what that is, because that's really kind of neat. You can get all the details and the specifications of your watch. There is a hang tag here. It's a black, like microfiber, but this little box in a box, when you close it up, it actually is a travel case for the Speedmaster. So really, really cool. And it's in that textured fabric, just like the rest of this. But here she is unboxed, but let's look in a little bit deeper. So let's start by looking at the bracelet in detail. This bracelet, while it's a sport bracelet, it is a little bit of a fancy bracelet. I would actually liken it mainly to that of the Jubilee bracelet of Rolex. So, and let's see, if you'll notice, they're both 5-link designs. A little bit, the 2 shiny links on this one are a little bit smaller, whereas this one has 3 shiny links. But really where you're gonna find it that they're most similar is in the articulation. So if we look at this bracelet here, literally it wraps right around your wrist or your finger. Very, very supple, very, very accommodating. So very, very nice in that respect. And similarly, whenever you have the Jubilee, it does the same thing. Here's the lume, which looks pretty good. And I guess it is for those little dots, but when you compare it to a diver like a sub, there's no comparison. So definitely dive watches have way more lume, but still doesn't look too bad. So let's start with the 2 legendary chronographs. We have, of course, the Moonwatch and the Daytona. And when you look at them, it's funny. The Moonwatch, of course, is a 42mm diameter watch versus a 40 on this. But this one actually wears a little bit smaller, so you can kind of see how much smaller the dial is on the Rolex compared to the Seamaster I'm sorry, the Speedmaster. And you can also tell, even though I'm kind of moving these around, how much more legible the Speedy is. It definitely is. Even though the hands are kind of like thinner, they definitely are more legible, you know, against the versus the Rolex. But the Rolex definitely is more of a, this is more of a modern watch. I mean, everything from that, the ceramic, and that's like a chunk of ceramic. It's not just an insert, but the ceramic, the dial, the weight of this actually, even though it's smaller, it's heavier than the Speedy. The Speedy is definitely more vintage inspired, but I love them both what they are. So here is the modern classic, and here is the more vintage classic. And here, of course, is the wrist shot. One thing I'm really kind of disappointed, when I ordered this, I was hoping it would be sized, and they forgot to size it for me. So I'm gonna have to go in and have this sized. But so this, while it drapes around the wrist very nicely here, and you get a good idea of what it might look like, it's not perfectly sized to me. But once again, it really is such a, it conforms to your wrist so nicely. Absolutely. And once again, the dial looks absolutely phenomenal. And this is not quite as comfortable. It feels more weighty. Definitely, obviously we've got different colors of dials, but it's a different kind of a feel, whereas this one, it kind of disappears on your wrist, really. So really, really nice. Okay, let's compare these two on the wrist from a little bit of distance. Once again, my wrist size is 7¼ inches or 184 millimeters. So here is the Speedmaster, and then here is the Submariner. This is a 41 millimeter watch. This is a 42. This is definitely heavier, no doubt whatsoever. It actually feels a little clunkier. It seems like it's actually a bigger watch, even though this is a 42 versus a 41. But both of them really just, like I said, they're just such cool watches. I mean, any sort of attire that you wear, whether it's dressed up or dressed down, they're both very, very, they are the perfect go anywhere, do anything type watches. Kudos to Rolex for the Submariner, and absolutely kudos to Omega for the Speedmaster, and in particular, for me at least, the white dial. Let's look at some wrist shots of these. And once again, as you can tell, this thing just hugs the wrist. It just conforms so nicely around. Absolutely love it. And I really do like this kind of retro clasp on this thing. Super duper cool. And yes, I do put tape on mine so it doesn't get scraped up. I know I'm gonna get flamed in the comments for that, but I do that with all of my watches. In fact, my, well, this watch I've had for, my goodness, I've had this watch for like coming up on 4 years. And if I peeled off this tape, it is absolutely pristine and perfect. So it's worth it to me. I know a lot of you guys like to, scratches are, character on a watch, but I am good with keeping mine pristine. So. Okay, let's take a deeper dive into the mesh bracelet here. This is one that probably you may not have seen. And it's funny, whenever I was first considering buying the white Speedy, I already had this mesh bracelet from my SMP, and I was thinking, well, I wonder if I should just get the white the white Speedy on either leather or rubber, and then use this as the, as the bracelet. I asked some people on different forums and so on, like, no, you have to get the original bracelet. So I did succumb to that. So I did, of course, buy it on the original bracelet, but I now have this second bracelet here. But pretty neat as you look at this. Obviously, the mesh is really, I mean, the Omega Mesh is a really, really nice bracelet. So, like I said, it just gives it, I actually think it gives it a bit of a more of a vintage vibe. Yeah. All right, let's see what she looks like on wrist. Really, really cool. The mesh is really so comfortable. I really enjoyed it on my SMP, and right now I'm really liking it on this. And I think one of the things that I like so much about it is well, once again, it has that retro vibe, which I think fits the watch really, really well. But also, it's different. I mean, my SMP is a little bit different from I'm sorry, I keep on saying SMP. My Speedy is a little bit different from everybody else's, so it has its own unique style. So, but I can tell you, this bracelet really is quite beautiful. All right, so let's see how she looks with a little bit of distance. As you know, I like to shoot a little bit away. I think it gives you a better perspective of how the watch fits on the wrist. And my wrist, once again, is 7¼ inches or 184 millimeters. And here's how she feels and looks on my wrist with the mesh. So what are your thoughts? Do you like the Speedy on the mesh? It said that the Speedy is a strap monster, and of course I'm going to push that to the limit. I actually happen to have 3 Omega NATO straps. I have the classic Bond, which I think is going to look absolutely fantastic with that. I have this blue, it's actually almost like a navy or an indigo blue and white stripe, which I also think is gonna look really, really sharp with it. And then it just so happens this last June, we went to Italy. And so I went and bought this Italian flag NATO from Omega as well. So I'm gonna show you all of these different NATO straps with the Speedy. So let's get this NATO party started with the Bond. So here is the Bond NATO. One thing that's so nice with these Omega straps, they really, the quality is absolutely top notch. The branding on it's really, really nice. It stays consistent with the watch. Very, very sharp. I'm not going to lie, of course, these are stupidly expensive. I mean, they're now like $190 or so, which is kind of crazy in my opinion for a NATO. And on top of everything else that I have 3 of them is even crazier that I spent that much money on them. But I really do like them, I have to admit. So it's one of those things where you spend a lot of money, it does hurt, but afterwards, then you love it. So here is the Bond NATO. As some of you may know, Omega is the official timer for the Olympics, and because of that, they have a lot of NATOs that are geared towards different country flags, and I picked up this Italian one. I actually picked it up for a trip that we took to Italy in June of this year, whenever I had my SMP. In fact, I'll show you some footage of it right here. But let's look at this one now on the white. As you can see on the white Speedy, it really brings out the white stripe, from the Italian flag, and even, of course, the red text brings out that red stripe. But kind of a more out there kind of NATO. But I'll tell you, I really, really like it. All of the shots that I had with my SMP were really, really cool, when we were in Italy. And I had so many people stop us, like in the street as I was wearing it, just to say, oh my gosh, I love your strap. So it was a ton of fun. So, and that's what watches should be. They should be fun. The last one is one that I'm probably going to be wearing a lot, and that's this navy with white stripe. I tend to wear a lot of blue clothes, so once again, I have a feeling this one's going to be very popular. Okay, here's the navy, and once again, it's the weave on and so on these is just really tight. In fact, let me come in really close. You can see the quality of this. I've actually had this navy one for over 4 years, and there is like no fraying or anything, even on these holes. So the quality is absolutely top notch. But when we look at this, once again, it looks really nice. And once again, I have a feeling I'm going to be wearing this navy one quite a lot just because I wear so much blue. As a kicker, what I'll do is I'll put in the footage that I have when we were in Monaco and I had this strap on my SM. Alright, and let's look at the NATO from a bit of a distance. And once again, my wrist is 7.25 inches or 184 millimeters. And of course, with the double pass, it sets the watch up a little bit higher, but gives you an idea. Nothing crazy though, that's for certain. And definitely a very cool look. I think the Speedy was made for NATO's. So as I conclude this video, you can probably tell I am a huge fan of this. And the funny thing is, I wasn't really a Speedy fan at all, but the white dial, for me, just takes it to a different level, and I absolutely love this thing. So I'm having a ton of fun with it. I actually really enjoy winding it. One other reviewer had mentioned that you have a relationship with the watch because you have to wind it every day. And I never thought about that. Of course, I have automatics, but having a manual wind watch it's another level of enjoyment with the watch. And the click when you turn it, it sounds and feels so good. I apologize that I didn't have all of my straps. Today, my AD did send me my 2 straps. This is the leather strap and this is the rubber, but 2 things were wrong on the order. He didn't send me the deployment clasp, so I can't put these on. And the second thing is the leather strap was just a black leather strap, and I'm getting the one that is supposed to come with this, which is it's like the rally strap with the white contrasting stitching and the white holes in it. So once I get my clasp and the new leather strap, which probably be in another week or so, I'm going to do another video kind of showcasing all of the different straps and options. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope if you're a fan of this Speedy, who knows, maybe it helped you to push you over the edge a little bit to get it. So it is a very cool watch. And if you do want to, I guess as people say, click subscribe and all that kind of stuff, because I am going to do all of the other straps once I get them in. So thanks again. Bye.